Hey everyone, Dawn here with Wreath Decor by Dawn. It's been a while. I'm going to do a grapevine wreath for you today. 18-inch oval is what we're using. We are only going to be using 4 of these holly snowberry pine sprays with the pine cone, the red berries, the holly leaves. We're going to use 4 of those. And then we're going to be adding in, sorry, this is going to be a little noisy, are red bells from Hobby Lobby. And I took off the greenery and the little bow they had on here, which was this greenery here, and then they had a little bow on there with some burlap ribbon. Show you. So they had that on there as well. So I took that off because we're not going to need that. We're going to make our own bow. Set this here to the side and stop making all that noise. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our greenery, our picks here. So like I said, we're using 4 of these. They're identical. They have the little gold and silver balls on there as well. Alright, so each one of these comes with these little gold and silver balls on them. We'll leave those on there. We will leave the pine cone. Maybe this one looks a little like it's broken, so we might take that one off. Maybe add in some of our own. And then they have these frosted red berries or flocked red berries, the flocked pine, and then the holly. And then this here looks like just a little leaf and eucalyptus. So all of this is wired and can be manipulated and moved around. Some of it is stuck together because of the flocking on it, so you just got to be careful with that. And then there's some little twigs in here as well, so we can move those around. But we want to wake it up, give it some life. You know, everything comes squished in a package, so we want to open it up, give it some life here. Move it around, try and get it unstuck from itself. Right there. There we go. Like that. So we just want to maneuver this around, give it some fullness, you know what I mean? You don't want it laying flat. You don't want everything laying flat. Alright, so I'm going to clip off these berries right here, or these pine cones, excuse me, right here. Like I said, that one's broken, so we don't want to use that one. I do have some of my own we can add in there if need be. I don't mind the gold and silver balls that are on here because it'll go with our ribbon that we're going to use, so we'll leave those. Alright, so we're going to put 2 of these on each side. Going to leave my gap up here. This is where I'm going to hang the bells from and put our bow, and then these are going to cascade down. So I want one right here, and then we'll put the second one there. But I'm going to do this one first, that way I can lay this one on top. So I'm going to bend this just a tad to go with the shape of my grapevine. I'm going to try and get it up underneath here like this, that way it'll lay flatter and it won't bulk it up, because if you lay it on this binding that they have on here, then it kind of makes it raise up. So I don't want that. So I'm going to cut this down. I can feel right here where all the wires meet for the pieces that are in this, so we're going to cut that off right there. It's wrapped in paper, so it should stay together. And then we're going to take the center and bend it to go with the flow of our grapevine. And it'll go right up underneath here, so I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on that. Not too much. And then I'm going to slide it up under here and go into my grapevine. And then I'm going to take a zip tie. Hang on, let me get this back in here. Right there. I'm going to take a zip tie, and I'm going to zip tie it down just so that it doesn't come undone. And it'll lay a little bit easier and a little flatter that way. So I'm looking for the actual spine of the piece, which is right here. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the brown paper on here. Excuse me. And I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm going to go around a couple of pieces of the grapevine. Push some of them down. And I want to make sure I get a couple of pieces on this side as well. Right here. Let me get my pliers so I can pull it up. Right here. So I'm going to grab that. Let me get this greenery out of the way, and then I'm going to zip tie this down right here. And you're not going to see that zip tie because it's buried in here. So we're going to take our zip tie tool and we're going to cut that off. And then we'll just put our greenery pieces back. Just like that. Now these you could take and take your little dowel and just wrap them and give them some curl so that they're not just sticking straight up. There's 3 of them, so I'm going to do that to all 3. Like that. And then we just want to get our greenery back in place. There we go. Alright, now we'll take our second one. We'll leave our pine cone on that one. And then that one's going to go right here on top. Right about, oops, sorry. Let me spread these two apart a little bit. I want it to lay kind of, let's see if I can get these to lay down a little more. So I want it to go right here. I'm going to bring these back up. I'm just trying to get everything opened up, spread out. Got another twig right here I want to bring forward. Oh, that one may not be able to. That's got some heavy flocking on it. So we'll leave that one there. Bring this one around the other side. Move your berries, any of them that are crushed, you want to lift them up a little bit, like that. Alright, and that one's going to lay right here. So we're going to, again, we're going to cut this off just above where all those wires meet, because we don't need it so long. And then we're going to put glue on that, and we're going to put it up underneath here, so that it comes out right there and it meets on top of that one. So we'll zip tie it and glue it in there. So let me get some glue on it. And hopefully I was in the camera range. If not, I will, when I do the other side, I will show you again. So I'm just going to put that glue in there. Make sure that it comes right up to the top here. We're going to cover that with a bow, so we're not worrying about that. It's not sticking out of the grapevine. I'm going to take another zip tie and I'm going to zip tie this down to the frame. So I'm going to grab a couple pieces of the frame, the grapevine, right here. And I've got glue there, so I've got to be careful. Pull that zip tie tight. Then use our little tool here, cinch it down, and then we'll move all of our greenery back over it where it was, like this. There we go. That one up top, that there, that there. So there. Again, we'll take our dowel and we will twist these twigs. Right there. And there's that one side. And we'll go back and fluff all this out and fill it in. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Again, we have another pine cone that does not look great, so we're going to cut that off. And if you don't want your pine cone up at the top, you can take that off and put it wherever you want it. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off anyway. And I think I'm going to add some of my own pine cones. So same thing on this one. We took off the pine cone. We're going to straighten everything out. See how compact that is? We want to pull that all apart. Open it up. Liven all this up. Pulling the twigs off of there so that we can move them around when we're done. That flocking is really heavy on here, so you gotta pull them apart. Alright, that looks good. Now we're going to take it and we're going to put this one in here. We want to make it about the same length. Make sure that they come out about the same here. So again, we're going to cut this off and go underneath this binding right here. Some of them are pretty thick, so got to cut those. Put some glue on that, and then we will zip tie it in as well. Not putting too much glue, but enough that it's going to help hold it in, of course. And then we're going to come right up here. I'm going to spread these apart. And I'm going to go down at an angle right there. And I'm going to grab me another zip tie. And we'll look for the other part of the spine right here. So the brown paper. I'm going to go around this thick branch that's in here. I'm trying to guide it with my other finger so I don't have to use my pliers, but I might have to. Nope, there we go. Alright, so we're going to zip tie that down, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. There we go. And then we're going to move our greenery to cover that up. This one here, this one here. Let's put these Trying to see. Oh, it goes on this side of it. I was trying to get the little balls. And there we go. On the other side of this branch right here. There we go. That works. All right, now we'll take our dowel and we'll twist these. So the idea for this wreath was to use minimal supplies but still make a beautiful wreath for winter. This would carry you all the way through the beginning of the year if you wanted, if you didn't want a Christmas wreath. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take this pine cone off as well, because we're going to add our own in. And then we're going to repeat the same thing we just did with the other one. And now this one is going to go right here, like this. Pull these apart so that we can lay that right in there. And then this will go up underneath this binding. It's a real thick one right here. And we'll put that in there. I'm going to cut that again, same spot. There. I'm going to put some glue on that. And then we're going to come this direction here. And we're going to go right in between all of this. Come on. I want it to come straight. There we go. Right like that. So you can see right there. But like I said, these will all be covered up by the bow. Take our zip tie. Pull these out. Find us a branch. Let's see one right here. Get the zip tie up underneath it. There we go. And that'll pull that down a little bit as well. Take that off. And now we can move our greenery back into place. And then we will do the same with these twigs. Get them all moved around a little bit here. Don't want all of my red berries in one spot, so we're trying to spread these out. There we go. This one needs to come over here, I think. There we go. That looks better. There. So it's just trying to get everything into place so that you've got coverage. There we go. Now we'll do our twigs. There's one. This one should be in the middle. 3. And this one. This one should be over here. This one's in the middle. There we go. So we've got some nice twigs coming out, flowing out here. Let's get these up out of the way. There. There we go. Get those berries. To do the bells, they're already attached together. So all we have to do is figure out where we want to attach them. Take this off. So it's got this long hanging rope, but I don't think we're going to need any of that because we're going to be using it from here. I need to cinch this down because it's got a sharp wire there. One, I don't want to keep hitting it, and two, I don't want anyone else to hit it. So here's the wreath, and I want these, to lay to where they're just barely touching the grapevine there in the center. So you can't see that, but let me lay it down for you. So it's going to lay like this. See how close it is to the bottom? So I'm going to zip tie it right up here at the top. I know this camera angle is a pain, but eventually we will get back to our old camera angle. So I want to zip tie this right here. And move it around. Make sure I've got a couple of the twigs. I don't want to use just one because if something were to happen and one of them were to break, I want to have a couple of them that are holding it. So I'm going to put my zip tie around like 3 or 4 of them, whatever I can get. Let me see if I can use my pliers. Get this zip tie right here. So you can see I've got about 4 of the branches in here. And then I'm going to take this, and I think I'm going to go, well, we'll just lay it in there. I don't want it to hang to one side too much. Well, let's lay it in. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let me get my zip tie back up here. There we go. Let me see if this is going to work this direction. If not, I'll have to undo the zip tie and put a different one on. Alright, that should hold that. Okay, I'm going to hold it up. No, I think that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. And we're going to put our bow right over this. So I'm going to cut this extra part off. So we'll leave that right there. And then this, we won't need this part. So I'm going to cut this off. Alright, let's make a bow for it and we'll be done. Put our pine cones on and we'll be done. This is the fair silk. I'm going to use this big 4-inch. Isn't that beautiful? It's got the gold backing, the jewels and the pearls, and then the velvet. Gorgeous, gorgeous ribbon. Alright, so we're going to... Now, we don't want to cover up our bells. So I want my ribbon tails... I want my ribbon tails to be able to flow and come down, but I don't want it to cover my bells. So I'm going to make my tails about 14 inches. So I'm going to gather it up right here. In an accordion style. It's a very thick ribbon, so it's going to be hard to get this in here. I can't do it by hand, so we have to use the bow maker for help here. And I'm going to do 2 loops, one on each side, at about 7 inches, going all the way to the end of my board here. And I'm going to twist. And I'm going to do another loop the same size on this side, going all the way to the end. And then I'm going to cinch it down. It's going to be hard to do that. Let me see if I can gather it up right. There we go. That'll work. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ribbon. And then this tail, we will match the other. So I'm going to go a little bit longer when I cut it so that I can, trying to cut in between my jewels and pearls here. And then I'm going to fold it up like this one here. So I'm doing a total of 2 folds. I'm sorry you can't see it on the end here. Right there. So there's my 2 folds. Alright, so we've got that ribbon in there. Okay, now we're going to go in with our gold. This is like a garland. They call it a glamour garland. Alright, so I want this one. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure I've got, I'm going to twist it right here where these two meet. Bring this out. We're going to do a loop a little bit shorter than our last one, like that, and that. Scrunch that down, and then we're going to make it the same length. And then we're going to finish it off with this one here. This is a red velvet with gold trim, and this is a 1 inch. And with these, I'm doing the same thing. I'm folding the ends. This has got a nice thick wire in it, so I'm just going to do 1 tail with this, and we're going to do 1 loop. Make it a little bit smaller than the last ribbon. So that's probably about a 4.5. About a 4.5. Scrunch that down. That one will come up. So we will cut that the length of our board. And then we'll fold it up. Alright, so we're going to need a big zip tie to keep all this together. Get this out of the way. It's going to be a very thick bow. So I'm going to get my zip tie right up next to my pegs here. I'm going to cinch this down just a bit so it holds everything so that when I take it off of here it doesn't come apart on me. I'm going to grab one side of my bow maker, pull up. Let's get this out of the way. I want to move my zip tie into the center where this little divot is. Pull this around to the back because we don't want to see that where it connects. Then I need to take my other zip tie, because this is the one we're going to use to connect it to the grapevine, and we're going to put that up underneath here in the right direction. Right here. Oops. And then we're going to tighten it up some more, and then we're going to fluff our bow out. Bring our tails down to the front so they can be seen. There we go. We want to see all that pretty ribbon. And then this one's going to go up. This one's going to go down. And we've got 2 loops here. This one's a little bit shorter, so I want to pull it and make it even. Right. Oops, get back in line, please. It's moving on me. Make it a little tighter here. Make sure my loops match. There we go. And now we'll cinch this down more. I'm going to use my zip tie tool, get it nice and tight. I give it a little click, couple clicks, that tightens it up, and then snap it to cut it. We're going to take this, and we're going to go right down in here. I'm not going to cut that off yet because I want to make sure my bow is good. Pull these out here, here, here. Can always cinch these ribbons down if you don't want them flowing like that, and like this over here. These two here, and then you've got this one in the center. Again, you can take this and curl it. There it goes. And that holds really nicely with that thick wire in there. And just get your tails pulled forward right here. There we go. And then the same with this one, we're going to fold it a couple of times over. There we go. I know you can't see that, but let me hold this up here. I'm going to move you up. And you can see those bells in there. Alright. And then if you wanted to, you could take pine cones like these. These have a stem on them. And they're flocked. And you can put a couple of these in. Wouldn't need a lot. I would say no more than 2 on each side. For me, anyway. So that, like that. And move that down so you can see that. So right here, it has a stem on it. And you can put those in. Put a couple in, 1 or 2. And that's it. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I know the camera angle's not the greatest. I'm working on getting my other camera set back up. I will get that done. I just haven't taken the time to get it all done. And then we'll be back to the front angle camera as soon as possible. Alright guys, have a great day and enjoy your weekend, and I will talk to you soon.